Let's turn to someone who's been brave enough to do the job. Harry Tangye is retired firearms response sergeant, wrote Firearms and Fatals, and joins me now. Where are you on calling a squad something like Viper? Mr. Tangye, good morning.
Good morning to you, and brilliant introduction. God, listen to that again. That was brilliant, how you introduced what the policing situation is today. Unfortunately, I will always support the front line, just as you have, because we're getting quite a few bad ones come in, and it's good they're being surfaced. You wonder how they got in the first place, and people tend to forget, in the Met specifically, the other 29,950 excellent, wonderful cops who are doing their damnedest.
Absolutely.
But where do I stand on this? Look, this is... why do they change these names anyway? I mean, the control room in Devon and Cornwall was called the control room to the CMCU, where no one could remember where that was in the directory. Roads policing, where I was dealing with serious injury, fatal road traffic collisions. So I went to over 200 of them. That turned into, that was roads policing from traffic. Everyone knew what traffic, roads policing to me was like checking the quality of the tarmac. Where this has happened before, because I know when the MP5, a very famous gun that came in, which the SAS used, it was thought of as being too aggressive. And then they stuck some of what was then the police authority with one of these things on the range, and she got bullseyes every time. And so, well, we can either use these or we can use the other guns that aren't nearly so accurate. Which one would you like to do? By the way, we have to use them perhaps in a bus stop somewhere sometimes. Okay, you can have your MP5s. What the problem is you have people who are running these forces who have never really experienced the effect of a psychological win. And we're not trying to please all those that are converted already. They're the ones who sit in meetings and try to improve efficiencies and things like that. They're very important, but they don't quite understand that if I turned up at a firearms incident, jumped out of my BMW car in a pink tutu, I might not be taken quite so seriously. So the way you look, the aggressiveness, if you like, gosh, what a dirty word, is really important, because the bad guys, and they are mainly guys, don't tend to want to take you on. And so when police officers would stick a gun in someone's face, bad guys' faces, it needs to happen sometimes. And sometimes people have a shock when they hear that. There are some really nasty, horrible people. You wouldn't believe what they could do.
I would.
And they would immediately put down their weapon and say, okay, I've bitten off more than I could chew. That is a win. No one's been injured. No one's been shot dead. And that is,
Lastly, Harry, is one of the problems there is now a tier of management, because of course we don't really want to use expressions like officers. There's now a tier of management who are blokes and women who've actually, in many instances, they can't nick themselves shaving.
No, and that is the problem. It's more politicians. And so I think more and more, and I do despair when things come on. What happened to the boss I used to have on traffic? He used to bang his fist on the table and support the department, because he knew how important it was to have this equipment, to have these resources, because he'd lived through it. But now these people jump from one to the other, to the other, to the other, are more management and not actually, the people on the front line doing it. And the front line, I'll tell you now, I'm speaking to an awful lot of people on the Met because I have quite a wide Twitter coverage. And I have a lot of direct messages coming in. And do you know what? They're just putting their heads down, getting their heads down, doing the work, getting home to their families, not listening to the media, the social media and certain media, and just doing the job. They're totally demoralised. And they wish it could be so easily helped if they had some bosses who came out and said, look, this is it. Just like your introduction with the London, 6 people arrested, shouldn't have been. But don't, people, how difficult is it now going to be for those officers making similar arrests?
Let's judge it by the 1.2 million people who came to town. Enjoy speaking with you, Sergeant. Thank you. Harry Tangye is a retired firearms response sergeant. Check out the book Firearms and Fatals, and let's get your calls in on that.